Hey man, say man, it's the one and only Jamaican man with ism brought to you by HoopSpaces, and we bring to you PDX Business.
Yeah, I play in now is not the NBA that I came into, and I expect it to evolve. Everything is constantly changing, but like I feel like I play for the love of the game. Like I want the competition. I want to know what it feels like to win. I want to see my teammates do well. I want to see my teammates get paid. Like I enjoy the bonding part of it. Like we spend more time with each other than anybody. But now it's like that don't count. Regular season don't count. Get a ring. You know what I'm saying? Like who? This guy's the MVP. This guy did this. He the first. It's like, bro, what is this stuff? Like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want this ain't even. I don't want to make it about my situation, but I was talking after a game like a week ago, and I was just like, they was asking me about Dame, but like to win a ring, and I'm like, bro, I don't need to prove to y'all that I want to win a ring. Why the hell do I play? Like, I don't need to prove that to y'all, but we cannot keep acting like, while I understand we play to win championships, we all want to win a championship. We can't keep acting like nothing matters. Like the rest of the stuff, the journey doesn't matter. We can't keep doing that. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like there's so many ways that the league is different. There's so many ways, and I think about it all the time where I'm like, man, I just don't I don't know if I can just play a long, long time because I don't enjoy what the NBA as a whole is becoming.
All right. I think you make some great points,
Yeah,
and there's a couple things that I sort of want to unpack
yeah,
there. So you're talking about two things here.
yeah,
It's the culture within the NBA, and then there's the culture around the NBA and the discourse around the NBA. I actually want to go back in a second to the culture within the NBA,
yeah,
and this is what I think gets lost a little bit in this discourse around ring culture
yeah,
and around players' careers and the decisions they make within their careers.
yeah.
To me, it's what you want, what I want out of my career versus what other people want for you.
Right.
And regardless of what you decide to do, by the way, you're going to be criticized for it.
Yeah,
I can give you
for
multiple
sure,
examples off the top of my head
for sure.
where someone couldn't win a ring and they go team up with a superstar, another superstar, and when they win it, it gets discredited. So the discourse
Or they
around this,
go and don't win it,
yeah,
And
and
they
now they
get
look
shit too.
crazy.
Yeah.
that also,
either
And now
way.
they
which
talk worse.
you've had some quotes about that as well. And I always look. I think every time you've ever been asked about this, your thoughts around it are very insightful. They're very thoughtful, and I've always respected them.
Yeah,
And the part about the journey is so huge. The thing for me has always been, and Jason and I talked about this yesterday. The thing for me has always been how poised and how calm and how seemingly unbothered you are
yeah.
by all the noise. How do you maintain a level of sanity within this discourse?
Because I have a real life. Like, I think that's the best way to put it. Like, I don't live my life as Damian Lillard. Like, I go home, I play with my kids. Like, I play with my kids. I go to my mom's house. I hang out with my cousins. You know what I mean? Like, I have a life. I talk to my grandmother on the phone, and my uncle calls me and we talk on the phone all night about just regular stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like I have a life that's stable and is not based upon who I am as an NBA player. Like I have real friends, like my best friend comes to Portland and he works a job where like he can work from home and he'll come stay with me for, he's single and he'll come stay for a few weeks. He'll book a one way and we have a real friendship. So like I don't sit here and just think about I need to leave all the time. And I'm not sitting there watching TV and hearing everything they got to say, like, oh, I probably should do this or I probably should do that. I'm like, when my career is over, y'all are not about to be talking about me. Y'all gonna be talking about Luka Doncic Ja Morant and Jason Tatum or whoever when I'm done playing. You know, they'll talk about me when they say, who had the most 40-point games or 50-point games or Portland, whatever. But like, why am I going to be sitting here overly concerned with everything that every person has to say about me when they don't know my life. Like they don't think about me when they get off of that camera, you know? Like, and when I'm done playing, they won't think about me. Like they don't think about you.
No.
You know what I'm
No,
saying?
they think about me in other ways, but yeah.
I'm just saying.
Hey man, say man, it's the one and only Jamaican man back at it again for another episode of PDX Business. This episode is entitled, and that's the bottom line, because Dame Lillard said so. For much of the season, as you have said, or saw rather, we've been mediocre. We've been mediocre for a lot of different reasons, and we're at the point with 13 games left where there is no excuse to reason. We just need to speak about the results. We are working on what we can control, and being the best offense in the NBA has not stopped us from being one of the worst defenses. If Dame's not in rhythm, we are in trouble for the most part. As you just saw, 17 games this entire season, we had the lead. And out of those 17 games, we have not won any of them. The beginning of the season, we had a little run, about 9 to 10 games of us being good and a team that you could possibly think about making the playoffs. And we still have the ability to make the play-in. But it doesn't change that narratives are not things that we pursue here in PDX. And I get that there are other markets, other franchises, other commentators and things of that nature, but that's not who we are. And we've shown flashes of a great defensive team at times. The thing is that you will see in this particular video that the zone, right? We're playing against a New York Knicks team that literally has no ISO creators. They have either very good guys at the rim or guys that can space the floor. No real in between. But this particular night, shout out to Deuce McBride. McBride, right? Yeah, Deuce McBride. He showed up and showed out. And we put ourselves in positions where not only good players, but players that need to make their mark can play well against us because we are preserving our lack thereof depth from the injuries we received this year, and we try to play a sophisticated style of zone. And I specifically said that if we don't mix match that, it could be detrimental. And we fall in love with this zone far too often to be able to hold leads, which we can't in this NBA, where you really can't stay in front of anybody to begin with. There's a switch league, and you switch, and they just find holes to stop us. It's not just at the front of the rim. Like you will see that although we create great possessions, as you can see here, like literally I saw Julius Randle miss his first 4 shots, like that one, but still have the ability, because we're all standing around, to get out rebounded or to allow for RJ to get a rhythm, which he had last night. Deuce, as I said, my man went off. I love Deuce McBride, two-way player. He earned his spot to where he is now, and we're so bad defensively that we make bad teams look good. And New York's not necessarily a bad team, but they don't have an offense capable of sustaining a championship situation. Right? They're not outthinking us individually as a defense. They're literally beating us the spots that the zone won't allow us to get to. Whether that's off the screen and roll or just off the dribble drive, as you will see here. They're literally just getting to spots and putting up shots. Because we're not playing man-to-man and we're not forcing people in certain areas for long periods of time, these buckets by Dame at the rim in a 90 percentile or from 3, it becomes null and void. And we've had a few games with both of our guys back, as you can see. And between the Knicks last night, that backside dribble drive for Nurkic to lob that to Matisse is a very good look for us. You know, and we're getting better at having the chemistry. But Jeremiah Grant is out this game. And you understand where I'm coming from with that, being as though that he is out and he's in a position where he has not taken his extension that we offered him, if you will. He's going to weigh his options. We should continue to weigh ours. Trendon Walford, being the liability he has been on defense, he has improved as a playmaker even since I last spoke on him. It's just not enough. It's not a depth issue at this point. It's an experience pride issue. And that's literally a player that did that for us that is doing it against us because we allow them to. Deuce McBride. Deuce McBride was a spark, man. I can't say that enough. But let's go to what Dane was saying about the process. All of those things considered, the win streak or the lack thereof blown leagues considered, let's consider what Dame said. This is a part of the process. You have to be active in that because there is no such thing as rest assuring on a solid pick, as we know, if we tank. But that whole idea of tanking, I've specified in the last episode that it's a misconception. There's no such thing, really. There was intention, and our intention is to remain competitive, but we can't do that with this many holes. So, I think I'm leaning towards that. If something happens to Chauncey going into year 3, I believe, it will make sense because Joe Cronin is still there. The interim tag is removed from him, but I can see if it was Norman Powell or what's the other guy? Powell or Robert Covington. That's not this roster no more. These are players that you specifically asked for given the trajectory of what Mrs. Allen has done by being a frugal CEO, right? Still doesn't improve our offense, although Chauncey's playbook is pretty sophisticated. Probably not as sophisticated as Terry Stotts, but neither one of these guys have shown us to really make an impact defensively. Now, we have a culture, we compete, and we play deep. Shaden Sharp has not played enough minutes in this time, with Anthony out or Anthony in. Him playing 3 minutes or 8 minutes and a half is ridiculous. There is no reason to not have this gentleman and play him for experiences, especially if we're not going to win. Now, we have 13 games left, and that doesn't hold us to not being able to improve and get into the play-in. But the play-in is the best that we can ask for at this time. Because if we really get a playoff situation in 7 games, I wouldn't want us to embarrass ourselves like we did against the New Orleans Pelicans. So the bottom line is with the 13 games remaining is do or die. It's literally time to sink with the chip. The chip should be on our shoulders that we should be tired of people talking about us in this way. We should be tired of the narrative being pointed to us because we have a great player. We need to put it together or we need to break it apart. Is it?